He was just 21 years old when he changed the world. Steve Jobs, along with Steve Wozniak, built the first Apple computer in a garage, and within 4 years, Apple went public. It was the fastest-growing tech company in America. But success came fast. Too fast. In year 1983, Jobs launched a computer that was supposed to redefine the industry. It was called the Lisa. Sleek, powerful, and packed with features no one had ever seen. And it flopped. Hard. The Lisa was too expensive, too complex, and too ahead of its time. Consumers didn't buy it. The industry didn't understand it. And Apple lost millions on what was supposed to be the future. That failure haunted Jobs. It bruised his ego, but it didn't break his ambition. Instead of slowing down, he doubled down, throwing everything into his next project, the Macintosh. It was bolder, flashier, riskier. But behind the scenes, the cracks were already starting to show. The Lisa wasn't just a computer, it was Steve Jobs' idea of the future. A graphical interface, a mouse, a machine that didn't need to be programmed with lines of code. Jobs believed it would change everything. And he was right. Just not yet. At the time, the average consumer didn't understand what they were looking at. The price tag, nearly 10-0 in today's money, was out of reach. And internally, Apple's team struggled with Jobs' perfectionism. He demanded silence from fans in the prototype room. He rejected circuit board layouts because they weren't aesthetically pure. It wasn't just vision, it was obsession. And that obsession created tension, burned bridges, and pushed engineers to the edge. As Lisa failed, Jobs was removed from the project. But he wasn't finished. He shifted focus to the Macintosh, smaller, cheaper, more personal. It had a smile on startup. It had energy. It had Jobs' heart. But the same friction followed. Delays, budget explosions, infighting. Jobs wanted the Mac to put a dent in the universe. Instead, it dented Apple's confidence. Sales missed expectations. Profits dropped. And slowly, the board began to turn against the man who started it all. By 1985, Steve Jobs had become a liability. His ideas were bold. His ambition is unmatched. But his leadership? Volatile. Deadlines slipped. Engineers are burned out. Budgets exploded. And while the Macintosh launched with fanfare, it failed to meet expectations. Jobs clashed with Apple's board. And most painfully, with John Sculley, the CEO Jobs had personally brought in. In a move that shocked Silicon Valley, Jobs was pushed out of his own company. At 30 years old, he was exiled from the empire he helped build. It crushed him. He wandered. He questioned everything. But it also woke something up inside him. He founded Next, a sleek, futuristic company aimed at revolutionizing computing. He acquired Pixar, a gamble that would one day win him an Oscar. And slowly, he evolved. Jobs learned to listen. He learned to trust. He learned the power of building people, not just products. He once said, "Getting fired from Apple was the best thing that could have ever happened to me." Because in failure, he found wisdom. And in that wisdom, he found the seeds of the greatest comeback in tech history. In 1997, Apple was on the brink of collapse. Stock was down, products were scattered, morale was low. The company Steve Jobs had started was dying. And then, something unexpected happened. Apple bought Next, the company Jobs built during his exile. Just like that, he was back. But this wasn't the same Steve Jobs who had once demanded silence in the prototype lab. This Job had been humbled. He had failed. And in that failure, he had learned. He simplified Apple's bloated product line. He canceled vanity projects. He made design and user experience non-negotiable. He told stories not just about technology, but about meaning. And behind every sleek product was one question: does this make people's lives better? In 2001, Apple launched the iPod. In 2007, the iPhone. Then came the App Store, iTunes, the iPad, and a trillion-dollar company. But the real victory wasn't the devices. It was what Jobs brought back with him: clarity, empathy, and discipline. He didn't just return to Apple, he redeemed it. And in doing so, he proved something powerful. That failure isn't the opposite of success. It's the training ground for it. Because what Apple's early failures really gave Steve Jobs was the wisdom to win when it mattered most. Steve Jobs didn't succeed because he avoided failure. He succeeded because he learned from it. Lisa failed. The Macintosh struggled. He was fired from his own company, humiliated on a global stage. But instead of quitting, he rebuilt. He learned to lead with empathy, to focus with clarity, to create with purpose. And when he returned to Apple, he didn't just bring new products, he brought a new philosophy. One that turned near bankruptcy into the biggest brand on earth. So, the next time you're facing a failure, remember this: sometimes getting pushed out is exactly what pushes you forward. If this story inspired you, like this video, subscribe for more powerful business stories, and drop a comment. What's one failure that made you stronger? We've got more incredible journeys coming, and trust me, you won't want to miss what's next.